What's going on, everybody? My name is Skylar Delgado, and this will just be a very introductory lesson on Synergy Sports. And the reason I wanted to make this is I feel like there's a lot of people who don't have access to Synergy. They don't have access to things like Sports Code. They don't have access to things like Fast Model. They don't have access to these things that cost a lot of money, but they want to learn because one thing I've realized in my GA process is that knowing things like Synergy, knowing things like Sports Code, knowing things like Fast Scout, knowing things like Photoshop, those things have almost became things that you must know as the base level of you getting a job. Like if you don't know these things, there's hundreds and hundreds of other people who are going for the same jobs as you that know how to use these things. So I think it's important to have a very beginner based level of just knowing what it is, knowing how to maneuver around an app such as this, and then from there, if you do get a job, you can say you know Synergy or Sports Code. You can know these things in order to just get the job, and then once you have access to it, that's when you can really fully lock in and really learn the whole system. But this will be just a very introductory piece. So Synergy Sports, this is pretty much a huge video database, and there's so many different things you can go and find on here, but I'm gonna just keep it to college right now. So right here, you can put your filters. So you have college men, college women, high school boys, high school girls, summer sessions, Ontario. I assume that's like some Canadian league, the North Pole Association. Like you have everything here, and I'm gonna keep it to Division One for now. So I can go back as far as I want. I can literally go back to 2003 and get clips from certain college teams. So like the database is huge, and this is where you can access it. So obviously this is very simple, but we're gonna stick to 24, 25. This has all different tournaments. As you can see, if you can go to D3, JUCO, it's all about the teams that have Synergy that post their clips, and most schools, especially at the D1 level, almost every school does. So like I said, we're going to stick to just all games, and then you can pick your division, any division you want. As you see, it does not matter. As long as there are schools that use Synergy, their games will be here. So we're going to stick with Division 1. Let me go back. We're going to stick with NCAA Division 1. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of it completely, but right here you also have conference. Any conference in Division 1 will pop up here. As you can see, you can pause the video. Every conference in Division 1 is here. And then the more you go down, you have Team A. This is just if you want to select certain teams and you want to have them up there. So let's start off with game. So game, this is where you can search up any game that has happened in this season. So as you can see, the most recent games, because it's based on recency, is the national championship game. And then you got these other tournaments that were happening along that time. So just for now, we're going to stick with this Florida Gators Houston Cougars game. So as you can see, it has the names of players that were in it. So we're just going to go full game video first. So when you search up a game, let's say we see Florida, we press full game video. This is what comes up. Playback is how and where you're going to see the videos that you select. So right here, in browser player means you're going to see it on the website that you're on. You can have it either in a website, or you can also have this in something called the editor that will probably be in a different video. But for now, we'll just stick with in browser player. But like I said, the other version is editor. So in browser player will show us the film that we want right here on our computer. Then max clips. You can choose how many clips you want it to generate. Obviously, the game's not going to be 2,000 clips long, but if you're watching a certain action or a certain player do certain things for a long period of time, you can put it to as many clips as you want it to show up. So for now, we're just going to stick with 50 clips. So we have 50 clips that are going to pop up, and then the clips order. So obviously it's going to show us the game. I can go by the oldest first, I can go most recent, or I can do random order. So usually when I do random order, it would be like for a personnel edit. If I was making a personnel edit, yeah, I could go to the recent games, and most times you do that because you want the most recent clips of them. But if I'm just trying to get a gauge on who a player is, I'll go random order, and you can start to see tendencies that way based on how they play. So we're going to stick to most recent first. And the edit name, this is just where you'll write it down where it'll show up in your editor. So I'll press OK. And now, this is the editor, but this is the browser editor. So there's also an application that you can get for the editor. But this is it. So as you can see, we have this here. And if I look down, over here is the result of whatever play that you're watching. So any play that you're watching will show up here. So we got J'Wan Roberts, post up, right block, left shoulder, dribble move to drop step, and he misses 2 points. So we're just going to watch this clip. And obviously this is the whole game. Let me mute this. This is the whole game. So if we get here, as you can see, this is J'Wan Roberts. He's posting up on the right block, going over his left shoulder to a drop step, and he misses. So let me pause this real quick. If you want to go replay that, it literally just told me the play that was about to happen. And then you can see in live time the clip that they're showing. And obviously it's the 50 most recent clips, so this will start the beginning of the game. And as you look down, this just goes, these first 50 clips, all scrolling down here. Let me go to 50. It's actually more than 50. I don't know how many. Oh, I selected 200. I thought I selected 50. So I go to the bottom and I'm at 200. And 200 brings you to the end of the game. So as you can see, this is the final play of the national championship game. And every single play is listed under a certain category. So that's how you can kind of see, you can go into a game and you could really break it piece by piece into how you want to see the game. So we're going to exit out of here and now we're back. So now I can do, that's the full game video. Then we have all the clips of the game. So they just clip up the game for us to make it more easy to watch. Relatively, it's very similar. This one is 210 clips. It just kind of clipped out possession wise. And then if we go last one, the possession one, this is the one where it'll show every offensive and defensive possession, obviously, of the team that you're watching. So it'll still show us the game, but as you can see, it's only 155 clips compared to the 210. So this first clip, it's only, as you can see right here, it's about 23 seconds long. But in the last section, if you go back, you can see that this first part was actually 1 minute and 8 seconds. So what it did was it's giving us the same thing, J'Wan Roberts posts up on the right block, but it's clipping just so we see that action. As you can see, we're back to J'Wan Roberts on the right block, going over his left shoulder into a drop step where he misses the layup. So to put that into a little bit more simple terms, you can watch the full games on here. Once you have Synergy, you can watch the full games, and then you can also go by certain clips where it's clipped up a little more clean. And then you have the All Possessions tab that is just every single possession that happens in the game for each team offensively. And obviously, it also in turn is the defensive possession for the other team. So then that's the game section. Like I said, I think one thing about Synergy is it's relatively easy to maneuver, and it's one of those things that the more that you play around with it, the easier it becomes and the more you start to understand it. And I think the hardest part for people who don't have access to Synergy is learning it takes just messing around with it. So obviously if you don't have Synergy, it's hard to mess around with it, but that's why I'm making this video, just so you have the basics and you know when you do eventually get access to it, at least you can know how to maneuver around, and then that will hopefully expedite your process in learning how to use Synergy. So then we have players right here. Now this one is one I use a lot, like I said, for personnel edits. If I'm doing a scout on a team in our league, I'm just going to use a guy from our team. Actually, I'm going to use a guy everybody knows. So let's say I wanted to do mine on, I'm blanking on a player. Let's say I want to do RJ Davis at North Carolina. So I type in RJ Davis name and I press in the search box. I get there, now RJ Davis pops up. So I'm going to select RJ Davis's name. I select his name, and now you have all of this. And at first, this can look very overwhelming, but we have overall. So RJ Davis overall, and you can also switch through all the seasons he has played. So I could go all the way back to his freshman year in 2020, or I'm going to stay with 24-25. So right now I'm in 24-25, and we're just sticking to the offense. So I'll explain this very quickly because it's relatively easy. We have offense, defense, very, very normal. We have the game possessions compared to everything. And then this is just to hide the rows. So if I want different rows cut off, I can hide them, or I can show them based off this. And then this is just defense where I can go man, zone, or both. Obviously, a majority of Division I is man-to-man. If you're looking for something specific, one big thing about synergy, like I said, it's not hard. It's just more maneuvering around and realizing what things you're going to use. Because there's a lot of things on synergy that me personally, I don't use. And you don't need to know every single thing, but most of the things are self-explanatory. So right here is all possessions. So this season, he had 629 possessions that he was involved in. And if you press this, and we're back to this. This is the video playback parameters that will tell us where you're going to watch it, how many clips, in what way. So right here, we have in-browser player. I would watch 500 clips, and I want to see the most recent. But for him, I want to do random. So I'll press random order, and then if I want it saved in the editor, I can switch the name out at the bottom. But so we have in-browser player. I go. Now this is going to show me RJ Davis's whole every possession he had up to 500 because I didn't go up higher. But this is a random game in the second half versus Clemson earlier on in the year. So as you can see, RJ Davis, pick and roll ball handler, dribbles away from the pick, dribble jumper, long three. And I'm not going to go in depth with this. This is just to show you it's very similar. One more. So we have him making a three. RJ Davis transition with a trailer, no dribble jumper, guarded, and he knocks it down. Only 12. Here it is. He's the trailer. No dribble. Straight up. Knocks it down. So, like I said, it's very simple in terms of it just tells you what you're going to watch. And it's just a matter of really getting around how to maneuver around the software. So I'm just going to explain some of this to you, and I don't want to make this video too long. I just thought it would be good to give you a basic level of what you're getting into because it can be overwhelming at first. So you have all possessions. Now this is just a different type of possessions on this left side. So you have all possessions. You have transition possessions, overall half court, him in out of bounds, baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds, him coming out of timeouts, the last 4 seconds of the shot clock, all his possessions against man, against zone, versus press. And then you have a per game breakdown where you can scroll here and it'll just show you the different games. So their last game at Mississippi, he had 15 total possessions. And like I said, the same thing. This just tells you how those possessions turned out and what type of possessions those were. And if you look, the points scored, if I press on the 635, that's how many points he scored this season. And I can just press on this and this will show me every make he had. There will be no misses. Possessions will show you everything. Makes, misses, turnovers, doesn't matter. But the points scored will show me just the makes. And then these other things are just important stats to know, like what was his point per possession, what was his point per possession rank. It shows how many field goals he attempted versus how many he made and missed. It shows his percentage, his efficiency, his effective field goal percentage. You keep scrolling down, and like I said, I'm not going to go through every one, but it just shows you such an in-depth analysis of these guys and how they play. So that's what that is. And then that's just overall. Then you can go to play types. Play types similar. I come to play types, and now it shows the same thing, possessions of him being a pick and roll ball handler, him doing spot up shots, him shooting in transition, him in isolation, etc., etc. The lower you go, it just shows these different plays, and it has the same type of analysis where it shows you field goal attempts, field goals made, field goal miss. It just continues on. So then we go to shot types, and this can work for any player that's on Synergy. So then I got shot types. So we can go all field goal attempts, we can go jump shots, off the catch, guarded shots versus unguarded, dribble jumpers, early jumpers in the clock, runners, at the rim, layups, dunks, anything that you want to see. It shows you the stat on the left, that what you're looking at, and then it shows the analysis and the analytics on it that you can, anything that's blue you can press on and it will show you clips of that. Then we have cumulative box. Cumulative box is just showing the whole roster, and it shows everyone's stat line. So you can go basic box, you can go advanced box that gives you a little more analytic based numbers. I can go here and go defensive, and it'll give me my defensive stats, defensive rebounds, steals, blocks, personal fouls committed, things like that. Basic shooting, that'll just show mostly field goal percentage, attempts, makes, misses, things of that nature. Very simple, and you can select on any of these players' names and still get there. And then player minutes is something I really like, where I can go, and if I want to watch, I might not want to watch the whole game, I just want to watch RJ Davis. So I go and I can select on his minutes, same thing in browser player. I press OK, and this will just show me clips from when he was in the game. It'll show me makes, misses, possessions that he necessarily wasn't involved. It will show all of that in this. So like I said, that is pretty simple. And the last thing I'll show, I'm not going to really show leaderboards, analytics, things like that, but team, this is the same thing. I can search up a team. Let's look up Houston. So I'm going to look up Houston. Houston, I press search. I have the Houston Cougars right here. I tap on this, and it's the same thing as the player, just for the team as a whole. So the team as a whole had over 3,000 possessions, and then all these different things that you can go look at. So I'm not going to go in depth with this, but player and team have the same type of system where you can go check that out. Like I said, I think the biggest thing with Synergy is just once you get access to it, you'll be able to really explore and experiment with just learning all the different things that there are within the software. But I think this video will help give you a very intro level of what you're seeing, and so you're not overwhelmed. If you just kind of take time to snoop around and look around, you'll really see that you can learn how to do it based on introductory videos. And then once you have access to it, that's when you can fully engage and really explore the whole software and what it really has to offer. So I hope this was able to help you. And there will be more videos coming out, whether it's about sports code, Photoshop, anything that can help assistant coaches, support staff, GAs, managers, people who aren't in basketball that want to get into it. I hope that these videos can help you. So thank you for tuning in.